On this episode of All Things Horses this week, we are going to talk about dentals and horses. So kind of relating back to going to the dentist, we're going to show you what it's like for your horse to go to a dentist. So the first thing that we kind of do when we go to an appointment for a dental is kind of first meet your horse. Who is your horse? You always want to just kind of go up friendly, touch the horse and make sure they know kind of who you are and what you're going to do. So kind of looking straight at the horse, their incisors, which is what you see our teeth here, they have incisors right here. So on Sawyer, he's young, so he kind of has short, smaller teeth versus an older horse who would have longer teeth. So we always start by looking at the incisors and making sure that they have good matching. So we want them to match pretty evenly here. We want to make sure they don't have any really sharp or jagged points that we need to address. So that's kind of my first go-to when I look at a horse. And over here on this picture, you can kind of see just on a horse skull. So this is the skull of a horse. So if we were looking at Sawyer, it would face kind of this way, just as he's facing out this way. So this would be the eye, this is their mandible coming down, and then what we call the maxilla up here. So you can just see how far the teeth actually really go back. So like we talked about a while ago, we have our incisors up here, which are these teeth right here. And then we have our premolars and our molars, which go really far back. So his teeth go all the way back here, which is really far. And they need that to have good grinding surface for all the hay that they eat. So when we have a dental appointment, we are really wanting to check the incisors and these teeth all the way in the back. So you're probably like, well, how do you get to these teeth in the back? Because we can't just ask them to open your mouth like we do at the dentist. So for that, we have what we call a dental speculum. So this is a speculum, and we will demonstrate kind of how this works. But we ask the horse to put this in their mouth, and then we open it up as so, and then that way we can safely put our hand into the horse's mouth and kind of feel and see what we need to do. So that is what we call the dental speculum. Instead of using a toothbrush like we do on our teeth, we use what we call a dental float. So horses, their teeth are a little bit different from ours in that they continue, so they're born with what teeth they have. They do get baby teeth and permanent teeth, but they get really long teeth that slowly erupt out of their bone. So continuously erupting is what we call that until they don't have any tooth left. But what happens during that process is they get really sharp points. So we use this to float the teeth and get those sharp points away so they don't get any ulcerations or anything like that, and to make sure they are able to eat and chew properly. So this is what we call the dental float. So like we talked about earlier, this is what our dental speculum looks like actually on the horse. So like we talked about trying to get to the really far back of his jaw to palpate his teeth and do our work, we have to use the speculum. And so we also have our light attached to our speculum. So by doing this, we can get a really good view into the way back of his mouth. And you can kind of come up further. I don't know if the video picks up all the way in the back, but you can see how far his teeth really do go in the back. And we use that float that we talked about to really grind some of those surfaces and get some of those sharp points away. So if you ever hear somebody talking about getting their horse's teeth floated, this is that entire process in a minute.